EU scientists. This is all astonishing, high-level, graduate course level science that they haven't even stumbled upon yet. Now, as I said in the article, this means the EU does not even recognize the therapeutic ability of water to reverse chronic dehydration, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If water cannot treat dehydration, what would they use instead? Vaccines? Is Bill Gates going to come out with a dehydration vaccine? Oh yeah. Should we all carry around IV bags with needles in our arms and so we can drip ourselves with some saline solution to stay hydrated? Because now we're not allowed to drink water? Don't laugh. That could be coming soon. All right. Now, I'm sorry. There's so much craziness in this broadcast tonight. And in fact, we've got a little more craziness coming up with the Fix-A-Flat story. I promise you that will be entertaining. But before we get to that, Alex Jones has another video from the road in Arizona. In fact, he's looking at some of the UN takeover of what used to be our national parks. Let's take a look at that video now.
Well, here we are at the new Grand Canyon Visitor Center. I knew 14 years ago when I made America Destroyed by Design that the UN ownership plaque was behind the visitor center on a big rock, on the face of a rock. Well, now they've pulled it up and put it here out front, and this facility looks pretty new. Looks like they just finished construction recently. Now there's a giant sprawling facility with the solar panels powering it, you name it. But if you read the executive orders that came after this was designated in 1979, in the mid-90s by Bill Clinton, you find it's collateral for, again, international debts, just like Greece having its islands taken over, handed over for debt. So I thought I would just retrace what we covered 14 years ago in America Destroyed by Design. Now this information is mainstream news. But back then, even though we had the executive order and the Kentucky legislature talking about it, people couldn't believe it. So basically, we will now move on down the road to the next site. Here, I'll stop talking right now and go ahead and take a picture. Yeah, I was over here shooting a video for YouTube, and this fella came over and talked over the video and acted all mad, so I'll just upload it to YouTube. Oh, don't worry, I will. Well, there you go. Nice, happy citizens. Nobody's around here. Literally just empty, except for a few people. And that guy heard me talking. I could hear him with his wife about 20 feet behind me go, "What?" He heard me talking about the UN. He had an American flag on his jacket. And I think the reason that he got upset was that he doesn't like to think about the New World Order. See, it doesn't work anymore to just say we're kooks or we're crazy. No, you can't do that now. So you got to get angry. Now, when I was here 14 years ago, I politely asked about it, and they got very upset. And again, I don't know if you could hear it on the audio, but I heard the guy, you hear my voice slow because I'm listening to him going, "Hold on a minute, I got to go over here and listen to this." As soon as this guy's done talking, and I'm pretty much almost whispering, talking in a low voice for me, but you don't do that as a slave. I'm a slave who would dare come here and point out executive orders handing over our land. The minute that guy heard me talk about Greece and how its islands were handed over, I heard him go, "Ugh." And I was like, "Oh, I'll quit videotaping." As soon as this guy's done, he was walking by, heard me, stopped, didn't like hearing about the UN taking over America, got in my video, and then got his little precious photo. Well, you know what? Just because you guys want to deny there's a world government, just because you want to deny that America is being taken over, it's happening. And there are those of us that care about freedom and don't want to live as slaves. And we're going to continue to face the facts. You know, they're now announcing all over the news a banking dictatorship over Europe run by Goldman Sachs, the exact group we told you would. I told you 15 plus years ago they'd implode the world economy through the three regions, starting in Europe first, then moving to Asia, then North America, and collapse it into a new bank of a world with a new global currency. Oh, and now it's Time Magazine. Now it's Financial Times of London. Now it's the London Telegraph. But a lot of those publications, like Time, are like, "Oh, it's wonderful. Now the global government will take over. The bankers know how to run things. And in America, there's literally nobody around me. I can't videotape that over there quietly, just like this. And here is the sign right here. And a guy comes over and wants me out of the way. You know why? Because he was wearing a blue windbreaker with American flags and stuff all over it. That's patriotism in America. Just NASCAR and bomb the Arabs and, you know, we're tough, we're #1. And I come over and point out this is happening, and he's not going to put up with it. Well, I'm going to continue to file reports from the road, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all.
Great video there by Alex. I really appreciate how he's pointing out what real patriotism means. You know, this gets back to the New York Times article that we mentioned earlier, which calls Alex an extremist. You know, look, real patriotism is saying, let's get back to the Constitution. Let's restore the Bill of Rights. Let's restore the Constitution. He is a restorationist. That's exactly how he describes himself, not as an extremist. You know, gee, I guess it's extreme to point these things out now in the common mainstream media. It's just incredible. But also, you know, another quick note. Sorry, guys, about on the graphics. I'm leaping around a little bit, but on the water story, I just had to add this in. I had a reader comment to me that they were offended by my coverage of that story because I was talking about how idiotic these EU bureaucrats were in Brussels. And they said, well, I'm a European and I'm offended by your story. Well, astonishingly, they weren't offended by the fact that the EU is run by morons. Wouldn't that be more offensive than the fact that we're reporting on it? And it's not an attack on EU citizens, because if you're in the EU and you're watching this show, you know what's going on. You know that your government is corrupt. You know it's a bunch of criminals. It's a bunch of banksters. It's a bunch of crooks. It's a bunch of scientific morons that are running the system. So you agree with us pointing this out. But every once in a while, some of these people say, well, I'm offended. How dare you point out that these 21 scientists are complete morons because they don't know what water is useful for. Maybe it's because in my story I said that even mosquitoes know to go to water, and thus these scientists are less than mosquito-brained. I guess that was offensive to some people. Anyway, moving on to the next story. We have a situation in Georgia involving water, but it's not funny. It's more about torture. Yeah, a senior citizen, a woman who was 89 years old, living in a nursing home, a caregiver facility of some sort. She got into an argument about ice cream. And who wouldn't? You know, it's delicious. And in order to resolve the argument, 2 staff members at this nursing facility held her down in the shower and subjected her to waterboarding torture techniques. Oh yeah, waterboarding is now happening in nursing homes. Now, these 2 did get arrested. We don't know what the status of that is, but there's a really important phenomenon that I want to describe here, and I'm going to call it trickle-down tyranny, all right? Trickle-down tyranny is because these people in the nursing homes, they are mimicking the tyranny that they see at the federal level. They are mimicking the tyranny that they feel at the airports when the TSA is reaching down their pants, when they see the cops spraying the students with pepper spray and getting away with it. And it's like some of these people out there, some of these workers, they want to feel empowered and emboldened with their own little form of tyranny. So they latch on to it. And the tyranny trickles down, and especially with waterboarding, where it's actually trickling down your throat as they're trying to force you to speak up and, I don't know, admit you took the ice cream sandwich or whatever they were going after this woman for. It's ridiculous that this is going on in America. It's just another sad, really pathetic commentary on the lack of compassion and humanitarian recognition of basic human rights in America today. So I don't mean to make fun of that story. It's actually very, very sad that they would subject a woman to that. But there is comedy to be found in this broadcast tonight, and let's get right to that with She's a Brick. Okay, here's the story. A woman was seeking to have her rear end enhanced, we'll just say, a little extra curvature in there. She sought out a doctor who turned out to be a fake doctor who agreed to inject her buttocks with a number of interesting substances, one of those being Fix-A-Flat tire inflator. Right here. Yeah, she was putting this right in her buttocks there with some cement and mineral oil. So, I don't know what to say, folks. If you're letting yourself be injected with this stuff, you know, there's something wrong with you. And if there's a person out there calling themselves a doctor who is injecting you with it, there's something wrong with them, too. It's kind of like the intersection of a couple of lunatics. Here's a story from the Associated Press. A woman who wanted to work at a nightclub started searching for someone who could perform plastic surgery at a cheap price to give her a curvier body. Police say what she found was a woman posing as a doctor who filled her buttocks with cement, mineral oil, and flat tire sealant. Yeah. Hey there, woman. Is that just your womanly curves there, or you got fix-a-flat in your butt? Yeah, I knew it. It's the fix-a-flat in your butt, isn't it? Yeah, you got a firm butt now with that cement in there, girl. That's sad. That's actually very, very sad that people would even imagine doing some of that. We will demonstrate this, but check it out. Check out the label. Just connect, inflate, and go. But it doesn't say to the club. It doesn't say go to the club. It says for passenger cars, sedans, sports cars, and trailers. It doesn't say for your trunk. Okay, that's not on the bottle. This is for your truck, people, not your trunk, which, of course, means rear end, for those of you who may not be up on the latest lingo. All right. It's sad. It's sad what people are doing to their bodies these days and not even knowing it. And speaking of that, we've got more news about BPA-free plastics. This is another thing that people are doing to their bodies without knowing it. Well, I guess in the case of the fix-a-flat woman, she should have had a clue when she heard that inflation sound. What is that? Why does my butt feel bigger? You know you can find that in the cosmetic surgery section of your local Ace Hardware store, by the way. Moving on to BPA-free plastics. Okay, some of the plastics that are BPA-free still have other chemicals in them. And a BPA-free label doesn't mean a product is harmless, reports Discovery News. In fact, they're saying a new study says when scientists conducted lab tests on more than 20 top brand baby bottles, along with more than 450 plastic food and